How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining me as I list my favorite movies from the month of July 2025. Let me know what your favorites were, if there were any that flew under the radar that I need to check out. I got 4 movies to talk about here, so let's just jump right into it with number 4, a movie that has a considerable amount of flaws, and I would completely understand anybody who said they didn't like it, and I would probably agree with all of your criticisms, but I still had fun, and that's Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm not really a fan of any of the sequels before this one. I think the original film is a classic. It's incredible. I love rewatching it. Every time I rewatch it, I'm reminded all over again, like, oh yeah, no, that this really is amazing. And I think Gareth Edwards was a good choice. This has like all of the issues that all of his movies have for me. Whether he writes them or not, they all feel very similar in the character department, in that the character shit is extremely lacking. The emotional element is extremely lacking. But the dinosaur stuff, I genuinely had so much fun with. And Jonathan Bailey, I thought was great. And I did really enjoy his character as the dinosaur nerd. I was really on board for his journey, the scene where he sees those crazy dinos with the really long tails doing whatever the hell they were doing. That was awesome, and the music swelling, like that was one of the few, if maybe only, scenes in any of these sequels that made me feel like a little bit of that magic from the original again, because I was in his shoes. We were seeing something unique from the dinosaurs that we hadn't really seen before, and I was like, all right, yeah, I'm actually feeling a little bit of that wonder. And I just think you had some really cool set pieces, whether it's them climbing the cliff walls, or them on the boat, or the T-Rex chasing them down the raft. I was enjoying it just for the pure dino spectacle. The T-Rex in particular, I like how it was kind of like a slasher villain, just kind of appearing and disappearing, and it was treated very animalistic, the way like it notices them and it kind of like cocks its head and is like, do I want to go get that? And then like slowly starts following them and deciding like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Just some really good little touches in the way the dinosaurs were treated. I did like the relationship that forms between Jonathan Bailey and Scarlett Johansson. You do have a really good cast here. Many of them are wasted because almost none of the characters have any like sufficient motivation at all. The whole plot is based around curing heart disease, which is not relevant to any of the characters. It's just a thing that's gonna happen in the world of Jurassic Park. We're gonna cure heart disease. That doesn't mean anything to the audience. And other than that, it's just money. Whether it's the heroes or the villains, generally they're motivated by money. The villain is lame as fuck. He's just some corporate bad guy. Wow, Jurassic Park has never done that before. There's very little in the way of arcs. Mahershala Ali is completely wasted. He does very little throughout the movie, even though there's like a solid setup. Then you got this other family who comes in, and they're mostly fine, but the boyfriend character, Jesus Christ, I wish he had not been in the movie. I don't understand what they were thinking with him. He's such an unbelievable douchebag that you're like, okay, this guy either has to undergo an incredible arc or die hilariously. And the movie's going on, and I'm waiting for either of those things to happen, and I end up not satisfied at all. There's like one scene where he has a heart-to-heart with the dad, and you're like, okay, that's the very beginning, inching towards a character arc. Let's see where they go with it. Nowhere. Never comes up again. He improves like slightly, but in general, I'm like, why? Why did you have him be such an ass? Did you think he was funny? He wasn't. He was just a dick. And the T-Rex at the end, very underwhelming. Just another big T-Rex, essentially. Doesn't really do anything. They don't even have to really do anything to it in the scene. They just kind of have to get away, and then they do. Very underwhelming conclusion. This movie's a good example of how two people could have the exact same reviews, where they talk about how the dino spectacle is cool, but the story and the character stuff is bad. But one person could come down on the side of, I liked it, and the other person could come down on the side of, I didn't. It's just about how enthralled you actually were by the positives. And I enjoyed it enough. I had a fun time. It's not one that I'm going to throw on every time I throw on Jurassic Park. It doesn't come anywhere near that original, but I did have more fun with it than any of the other sequels, and I could see myself revisiting it sometime. So that's the one that I'm mixed to positive on, but the other 3 that I'm going to talk about here, I was very positive on. Number 3 is the only horror movie from July that I really enjoyed, and that is Together. Very cool body horror movie where it's mostly like a romantic drama comedy. and the horror elements are used to accentuate the issues between the characters and to represent their issues and tell the story and give us their character arcs. It's used in a really good way because Alison Brie and Dave Franco, who have fantastic chemistry, as you would expect them to, they're very believable as a couple. They're going through this patch where Dave Franco is struggling in this music career that he's trying to build up. He hasn't been able to follow that path in his life that he wanted to, and he feels like he's kind of being dragged along Alison Brie's path, even though he loves her and she's supporting him so much. He's kind of feeling unfulfilled. And so there's this commentary on codependency and the struggles that people go through in relationships all the time that's very relatable to me and to many, many others. And it's exemplified through this body horror element where supernatural shit starts happening and their bodies start getting stuck together in weird ways, and they start being able to control each other's bodies in weird ways. And it's really creative, really cool, really works for the metaphor. And I really like this relationship and the nuances of it and how different people will have different opinions on it, on whether it was healthy or not, because there are some scenes where it's like, ooh, that was so like awkward, the way that they just kind of let their feelings out there. This is probably not a relationship that should continue, but there's also scenes that are very sweet and feels like, I don't know, maybe they could work it out. It's also very funny, whether just from like the secondhand embarrassment of the awkward couple stuff or just some of the actual genuine dialogue in there. It's very funny, and it's focused on being a good time. It's not going over the top crazy with the gore. I wish it had. Like, it takes a while to get to the body horror, and then once it's there, it does not go as hard with it as I wished it had and as I imagined it would have from some of the early reactions that I heard. It's not like a crazy gore fest, and personally, I would have had more fun if it was, but I still enjoyed it. The practical effects that are there are really good. Some of it's CG, unfortunately, and it just kind of has to be. And it's mostly freaky on like a conceptual level more than a actually viscerally disturbed level. But there's some stuff in there that genuinely is unique and terrifying, and there's some good practical effects. At this point, I don't know if it's in my top 5 horror movies of the year, but it's at least around there, top 6 or 7-ish. I haven't put together a comprehensive list yet, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend it. Now on to number 2. Is Marvel back again for the first time since the last time it was back, which was 2 months ago? Yes, it is. The Fantastic Four, First Steps. We finally did it. We got there. We got a good Fantastic Four movie. Some people are fans of the Chris Evans, Jessica Alba ones. And if you genuinely are a fan of those, that's totally fine. There are some people who will be like, you guys don't understand. Those movies are secret masterpieces. And what they mean is they watched them when they were a child. And if that's your position, you watched it when you were a child. Just be honest that that's what you mean. Because I also watched them when I was a child. They don't necessarily hold up. But this was a lot of fun. I loved the cast here. I was skeptical about Pedro Pascal. I just didn't really see him as Reed. There was a lot of rumors about the casting for this movie, all these names being thrown out there. Who knows how many of them were actually in serious consideration by Marvel, by Disney. But it feels like they finally kind of picked an actor who's just really popular right now, and I was like, is he really a good fit for Reed, though? And yes, absolutely. He was possibly my favorite. I thought he was fantastic. His performance and the characterization, I loved how they handled Reed. This man who is just weighed down by his own intelligence and fears his own brain. Somebody who does so much and puts in so much work to ensure the safety of his family and of other people, but always feels like he is never doing enough. And always has so much running through his brain, so many different horrific outcomes that he feels like he has to plan against, that it's just weighing him down. And you can tell by the way the characters interact in the movie that if he didn't have his family, he would probably go insane. And I loved that depiction of him. I thought Pedro was great. Vanessa Kirby was awesome. I love how her being pregnant didn't sideline her at all. Like, it's a central theme of the movie, her emotional intelligence and her strength and her carrying this child, caring for this child. Joseph Quinn was really good as Johnny. There was a lot of doubt surrounding his casting, and I never really understood why. Like, we all loved him in Stranger Things, and then everything else he's been in, he's gotten praise for as well. I never understood what people's issues were, but now that the movie's out, a ton of those people are saying, like, I apologize to Joseph Quinn, I was wrong. And so that's good to see. I thought he really fit the role. I love how they showed Johnny's intelligence. He wasn't just like the playboy. He was an astronaut as well. He's also very smart, and so he handles a lot of that on his own, while Reed is busy doing all his shit. And then Ben is like the one that gets the least to do, which is a shame. I would have liked to see more, but I still really liked him. I love the design. I love the voice. I love how he doesn't have like big rock guy voice. He just has his normal voice. I think that's really cool. And he's still really likable. He's still an integral part of the family. I love the relationship among all of them. Like in the old ones, I never liked how Johnny is just genuinely an asshole and Ben is like a big baby. Every time he pranks him, he gets so angry. It's just ridiculous. But in this one, yeah, they're like ribbing at each other. They're poking fun at each other, but in like a loving way, the way a family actually does. You can tell it's never actually bothering any of them. They joke with each other and it felt very real. And this movie was not like bogged down by humor. It doesn't have like little quips inserted every now and then. It's not overstuffed with the typical Marvel humor. It's actually kind of toned down and it's pretty funny. I love the aesthetic of this world. I don't know what we're gonna do with Doomsday. It feels like we're rushing into too much too fast. I would love to stay on this world and just have more Fantastic Four stories, but whatever, we'll see. Visually, it's one of the best of the MCU, maybe the best. The scene with the Silver Surfer following them through space, that whole chase sequence, Galactus and everything, that all looked awesome. Silver Surfer was really cool, really enjoyed her. Galactus, not really much personality. Ralph Ineson was a great choice for the voice. He has like 3 lines, unfortunately, but as just a presence of big guy, he was in fact big guy. Could have used a little bit more action, mainly from Reed. I wanted to see more stretchiness. As a One Piece fan, I have high expectations for stretchiness, and he didn't really do much. He Shadow of the Colossus at one point, and that was really cool. Other than that, he's just kind of like stretching. He doesn't morph into weird shapes or anything. That would have been creative and fun. But I was still satisfied with the family elements and the character dynamics and just this world and these visuals. A lot of people are talking about how it feels like there's stuff cut out, and it definitely does. I still was very satisfied by all of it, and I thought it moved at a great pace. But if there was a little bit extra, fleshing out mainly Ben and maybe some of the other little subplots, that would have been even better, but I'm still really satisfied with what we got. Also, little baby Franklin. They say that it was a real baby that they were dealing with all the time. Definitely sometimes. But if it really was a real baby all the time, then they definitely like painted over it with CG. Because sometimes it looked good, and sometimes it looked like Twilight Baby, and I'm like, no. I know you have the power of like a cosmic monster, but you're not supposed to look like it. You're supposed to be cute and endearing to me, and sometimes you are, but sometimes you look like a cartoon freak, and so sometimes the visuals were not great, but most of the time they were. I walked out of this thinking that I liked Thunderbolts more, but the more I've sat on it, I think I like this more. There were highs of Thunderbolts that I appreciated more, but I also felt more lows, namely the humor didn't really work for me in that one. This one felt a little more consistent, and I've been thinking about it. Really had a fun time. And that makes 3 great superhero movies in a row, because my number 1 is Superman, which was my most anticipated movie of the year. Big fan of James Gunn. I thought DC was in desperate need of a reboot. I like Man of Steel. I like Aquaman. I like The Suicide Squad. I like a few movies here and there from the DCEU, but as a whole, it suffered because they tried to catch up to Marvel way too fast. They were too reactionary in many ways, and a lot of their stuff was just genuinely not good, and people really lost interest by the end. And so this is exactly what they needed: somebody with a clear vision for where to take this universe, somebody who's going to be bringing in all these different creatives to do their own thing and let these projects have their own unique styles and voices, and I really enjoyed his Superman movie. It's probably my favorite Superman movie. It's very similar to Fantastic Four in certain ways, in that there's a little too much going on, and it feels like it could have had a little more time devoted to it, especially with Clark. I would love to see more of Clark himself. I think David Corenswet is really good for what we see of him, but I would love to see more of the dynamic, the difference between Superman and Clark, spending time with Lois or the Daily Planet or his parents, anything like that. This had to do a lot to kick off the universe, so hopefully now that that's done, we can have a little more downtime in future movies. But just like Fantastic Four, even though I feel like I could have used a little more, the pacing is just so energetic and entertaining. I've seen it twice. I went with my dad the second time. He loved it too. And it moves and it's really fun to watch, so it's hard for me to even complain. I loved David Corenswet. I thought he was fantastic as Superman. I love how one of his first lines in the movie is, "Golly." What the hey, dude? Things like that. Just this Kansas Boy Scout. I thought he depicted that so perfectly. Nicholas Hoult is fantastic as Lex Luthor. My God, what a petty bitch. He captured that so amazingly. Just his monologue near the end where he's just talking about why he hates Superman so much. I wish we went into a little more detail about him, but I think that'll be saved for the future when we have time to get into like his childhood, his relationship with his father, whatever we're gonna do. That might be better saved for later. But he was great. Everybody was. Rachel Brosnahan, great Lois Lane. I loved Mr. Terrific. I didn't know anything about that character at all, but I need a show or a movie or something because he was so badass. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, surprisingly, really cool as well. Hawkgirl, you don't really get much in the way of character for her, but I liked them all. Typical of James Gunn, sometimes there's a few too many jokes. Sometimes they go on a little too long, but generally, I found it very funny. Jimmy Olsen, mostly good. I think they pushed his joke a little bit too far as well, but mostly I like what they did with him. Really enjoyed the action sequences. I loved Crypto. Very relevant story and themes with the war between those two countries, which are totally not analogous at all to any two countries on our planet Earth. I cried multiple times, both times that I saw it. There's just so much in there. When he's talking with his father, when he gets back into the fray and starts saving people, he saves the goddamn squirrel, which there were certain Tess audience who said they didn't like that. Man, fuck off. What are you talking about? Him saving the squirrel was incredible. The little boy raising up the flag and wishing for Superman. There's so many moments in there that just, regardless of whatever flaws I have with the narrative being a little bit overstuffed or jokes going on a little too long, it just filled me with this sense of hope and positivity. And I do enjoy Man of Steel, even though it has plenty of flaws. I enjoy it as like a different take on the character, but watching this, it really does feel like this is what Superman is really supposed to be. And I hope a lot of people get on board with this universe. People are seeming to really like this version of the character and realizing, oh yeah, Superman's not that boring. That criticism that so many people have always had. I have no issue with the twist. You know, the thing that James Gunn changed about the lore, which has been done in certain comics, but I guess it's not the norm. I don't mind it at all. It serves the thematic purpose of the movie. It's one of the most like comic booky movies ever, and I love this and Fantastic Four back to back. These movies really embracing these visuals and these roots in being goofy and silly and a little overdramatic and just fun. It's currently in my probably top 2 of the year. I really loved it. I'm happy to watch it a third time as soon as I can. I'm very excited to see more of what's to come. I despise all of the discourse surrounding this because it's all just personal attacks. It's all James Gunn this and Zack Snyder that, and I hate all of you. Liking Zack Snyder is totally fine, although I don't think these people even do, because how many people watch Rebel Moon? But liking Zack Snyder's versions of these characters is totally fine. I enjoy Man of Steel. I don't enjoy where they went after that. But man, you people need to get a fucking job. And I think some people are too antagonistic in the other direction too, and I hate it. I hate how you can't talk about it anywhere without some asshole coming in and being like, yeah, well, this other movie from 12 years ago, and I'm like, oh, it's gone. It's done. That's over. It just is. Get a fucking hobby. Move on. Please. Feel some love in your life. People are really liking this movie, and that's what they needed. They needed to show people, like, hey, we can do this. We can make movies. We know that you've been going to Marvel for that, but we can also do it. And so hopefully the DCU just grows and grows, and we'll get a good variety of projects from them. But yeah, if you want to talk more about any of these movies in detail, we can do that down in the comments. If you want to talk about other movies that you enjoyed that I didn't mention here, feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more from me. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.